Alright guys, we're taking a look here at this Stoichiometry Lab. Here we have our background information, and then we're going to scroll down here. Here's our procedure. We're going to go through that momentarily, but I want to draw your attention here to where it says observations and data. You are going to need to construct your own data table, so please make it neat and make sure that there's a place for everything from our procedure that says and then add this to your data table. Okay, observations are going to be qualitative, so anything that you notice happening as part of a lab, please be scientific in your observations. All right, so let's get started here. All right, so the equipment has already been washed in step 1 and dried. All right, so we're going to find the combined mass of the dry evaporating dish plus the watch glass. Then you're going to record that in your data table. All right, gentlemen, so here is our balance. I'm going to hit the light so that we can see this a little more clearly, hopefully. All right. So we need to find the combined mass of the evaporating dish and the watch glass. All right, so 0, here's the evaporating dish, and on top of that, our watch glass. All right, so it looks like we should have 71.080 grams for the combined mass of the evaporating dish and the watch glass. All right, step 4, tare the balance. We're going to put the evaporating dish back on here. Hit 0 again, and then using our scupula, we are going to, in step 4, it asks us to add the sodium bicarbonate to approximately 2.50 grams. All right, guys, so we are close here. We are at 2.560 grams of sodium bicarbonate. Record that mass in your data table. All right. We're going to now move on to step 5. We're taking the evaporating dish and adding it to the hot plate. We're not yet turning the hot plate on. We're getting our hydrochloric acid here, okay? And then that's in step 6. And then in step 7, we are going to use a dropper to add in hydrochloric acid until the reaction stops. So I'm going to put on the evaporating dish to protect myself from any spatter that happens here. Don't forget that you should be making qualitative observations here as well about what's happening as I mix these chemicals together. Just going to pour my hydrochloric acid into a beaker so I have easier access with the dropper. All right, here we go. First dropper in here. I'm going to lift this up a little bit so that I have easier access, but I'm still holding it so that it's protecting me and anyone around me from splashing. So we're going to keep adding it in until the fizzing stops. give it a second for the fizzing to stop. You'll see that it's all been dissolved in the hydrochloric acid here. Just give it a little stir to make sure that it's all been dissolved and reacted. Okay, so make your observations about what it looks like now versus what it looked like when we started. All right, fizzing has stopped. I'm going to place the evaporating dish with the watch glass back over the top. All right. Once all the bubbling is stopped, we can take this guy back off, and we're going to place it so that it is curved side up on the lab bench here. All right. All right, hot plate. We turn that on to about 5 here. Okay, so it is heating up the solution that we have right there in our dish. Okay, so we're at step 9. So we're going to heat this gently until no liquid remains. It's important that if the liquid starts to go down a little bit, we are going to use the watch glass again to prevent spatter as we get close to that point. So now we just have to wait a little bit while this heats up. I'm going to turn the lights back on so that you guys can get a better view of what's happening inside that evaporating dish here. So you can see it's starting to boil and to give off some steam. So now we just have to wait until all of the liquid has been boiled out. While we're waiting for this to happen, if you look here, step 10 suggests that you head on down here to make your prediction. So here's our balanced chemical equation. You need to use stoichiometry, starting with what we measured in the lab, to predict the mass of sodium chloride that we should get if everything was perfect in the lab. So make sure you show all your work around and label here. So you can be doing that while we wait for this to happen here. So we are currently on step 9. You can be working on step 10 while we get this heating going. We're starting to lose some of the liquid here, you can see. So I'm gonna put this back on to prevent any splattering, but out here the gas can still escape. Right, because it's hot now, carefully using our tongs, I'm gonna lift up and check and see how we're doing. Ooh. All right. So you can see we got a little bit of stuff here on the watch glass. And you can see that we are getting closer to having removed all of the liquid here, so we have a lot more solid happening. Okay, so that needs just a little bit longer. You see here, it's almost ready. Use our scoopula here just to gently break it up a little bit so that if there's any liquid left trapped underneath here, it can be released. Making sure to get all of those particles that are on the scoopula back into the dish. All right, then we're going to move on here to step 11. We are turning off the hot plate. And then I'm going to use my tongs to lift the evaporating dish up off of the hot plate, move our hot plate out of the way, and then before we can put this on the balance, it has to cool for about 5 minutes. should be cool now. And then we're gonna finish our last step here, which is to find the combined mass of the evaporating dish, watch glass, and product. Okay, so you'll see here that some of the product was stuck on the evaporating dish lid, the watch glass, which is why it's important for us to find the mass again. So we take this guy, which has been cooled, and we're going to, once again, place it back onto the balance to find the mass of everything together here. All right, so here it is. Watch glass added back on. Oh, let's go. Okay. All right, so our combined mass of the evaporating dish, watch glass, and product is 73.360 grams. 73.360 grams. And then make sure to record that in a place that you create in your data table. Remember that your data table should have categories that are specific enough that if any scientist or science student were to read your data, they would know exactly what that measurement means. All right, now that is the complete part of the lab. Make sure that your data has a space in the data table. Make sure that you have made good observations. If you did not, go back and watch this again and make your observations about the changes that happen here, and that you have made your prediction. Remember that this will be going in as a test/quiz grade, so it's important that you get all of this data and that you keep it somewhere, because on Wednesday we are going to be using this data to finish part 2. If you don't keep this information that you took today, you will not be able to do part 2. All right.